welcome back. So we are looking at supervised learning, and specifically we are looking at binary classification. And we started looking at a algorithm which tried to maximize the margin given a set of data points and find a linear classifier. Right. So in specifically, we came up with the following formulation, where given a set of data points, we wanted to find a W in the dimension such that the length of W is as small as possible, such that the W is actually classifying the set of data points with margin 1. Now, we argued that the length being small is equivalent to being the width produced by the parallel lines that correspond to margin equals 1 is large, right? So, and so you are naturally looking for classifiers or lines which have a smaller length. Now we said that, well, we can solve this problem using different gradient based techniques, and that might give us some solution. But what we want to do is to look at the same problem in a slightly different way, so that we understand this in a differently, so that it will help us derive what is called as a dual problem for this problem, from which we can derive more insights into the understanding of insights into the problem itself, and further our understanding, and probably try to improve this algorithm, so to say. So for this, we are going to do a slight small detour to understand this concept in more generality, and then we will talk about specifically what it applies to this problem. Right? So let's call this problem A for the moment. We'll come back to this problem in a minute. For now, what we are going to look at is, you want to minimize some function f of w such that g of w is less than or equal to 0. Note that the problem that we have is of this form. So here we have some function f of w. Now g of w is not less than or equal to 0, it's greater than or equal to 1, but then you can change it into an appropriate form such that it is less than or equal to 0. Now again, note that in the problem that we have, there are many constraints. There are n constraints corresponding to n data points that we have, whereas what we are going to first start looking at is just the case of one constraint, and then we will see how the ideas also translate to the case where you have more constraints. Okay, so now what we are going to do is we want to solve this problem, right? So minimize f of w such that g of w is less than or equal to 0. We are going to come up with a different way to solve this problem, and we'll see why that way is useful, especially in the case that we are looking at. So the way is to first define what is called as a function, new function L, which is called sometimes the Lagrangian function, which is a function of two variables, w and alpha, and is defined as f of w plus alpha g of w, where alpha is some real number, right? So it is basically what you're doing is that the objective function f of w is still intact. Now the constraint function becomes part of the objective itself, right? So it is f of w plus some alpha times g of w. Now why do we care about this function? How is this function even related to the original function? Well, let's try to understand that. So now fix any w. Let's say I give you a w, right? So you fix this w, and I ask you to consider the following quantity, right? So consider maximum over alpha greater than or equal to 0 L of w comma alpha. That is, consider maximum over alpha greater than or equal to 0 f of w plus alpha g of w. Now I ask you the question, what value can this function take, right? So remember, I gave you a w, maybe w equals 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So that vector. Now I'm asking you to maximize a different quantity with respect to alpha greater than or equal to 0. Now how will this quantity value look like? Well, there are two cases to consider here, right? So now let's look at the first case where g of w is greater than 0. Let's say I gave you a w, remember, and that w has some f of w value, some g of w value, right? So it has some objective value, it has some constraint value also, which are evaluated at f of w and g of w. Now let's say for the w that I gave you, it so happens that g of w is greater than 0. Maybe g of w is 5, right? So it's a positive quantity, strictly positive quantity. Now, how big can you make this function now? Let's say I give you a w for which f of w, and you are looking at f of w and g of w. You realize f of w is maybe minus 100 and g of w is 5, for example, right? So for the w that I gave you, maybe the w is 1, 2, 3, 4. D is 4-dimensional. This is the w that I give you. Now what I'm asking then is, you want to maximize over alpha greater than 0 minus 100 plus alpha times 5. Now alpha is some positive quantity, non-negative quantity. I can put any non-negative quantity here, but then I want to push this value, the sum, as high as possible. Now how high can I push this? Well, if you look at this, right, so if I set alpha equals 1, then this value is, for alpha 1, this is minus 95. For alpha equals 10, this is minus 100 plus 10 into 550, which is minus 50. If alpha equal to 100, then this is minus 100 plus 100 into 5, which is 400. 500 minus 100 is 400, and so on. So as I increase alpha, it looks like I can push this value as high as I want, right? So, and that is true because I have fixed the w. F of w is some fixed number, right? So it can be as small as you want, but then it's a fixed number. It's not going to change as I change alpha. On the other hand, this guy is going to change as I change alpha, and because g of w is positive now, and I'm allowed to choose alphas which are greater than or equal to 0, I can make alpha arbitrarily large, and the whole thing goes arbitrarily large positive quantity, which means that I can push this whole quantity to be infinity, which means if the w that I gave you had the property that g of w is greater than 0, then this function evaluates to infinity. Now we'll see why that is useful in a minute, but now let's also look at the case where g of w is less than or equal to 0, right? So now here is another case where g of w is less than or equal to 0. Let me put a box here, separate this. Now in this case, maybe w is, maybe you have a different w is 3, 4, 5, 6. Now f of w here is minus, well, let's say f of w is 100 and g of w is minus 5. Now what I'm trying to maximize is, earlier it was minus 100 plus 5 alpha, now it is 100 minus 5 alpha. Now again I'm only allowed to have non-negative alpha, right? So if I set alpha equals 1, this value is 100 minus 5 alpha is 95. If I set alpha equals 10, this value is 50, right? So the value actually goes down as I increase alpha, right? So because of this negative sign. Of course, I cannot set alpha as negative because I'm only allowed to maximize alpha over greater than or equal to 0. So how much can I increase this? Well, I can always set alpha equals 0 to get 100 minus 0, which is 100, right? Any positive alpha is going to only reduce this quantity. So the maximum value that I can get is actually 100 only, which is f of w. So which means that if g of w is less than or equal to 0, then this function evaluates to, because alpha is greater than or equal to 0, well, if g of w is strictly less than 0, I will just set alpha as 0 to make this value equal to f of w. If g of w is equal to 0, then doesn't matter what alpha I set, this value is always, second term is always going to be 0, the first term will be f of w. So in both the cases, this term is going to be f of w if g of w is less than or equal to 0, right? So what then happens is that something interesting has actually happened, right? So now here is a new function which, if I give you a w, if the w satisfies g of w less than or equal to 0, then this new function evaluates to f of w. If the w does not satisfy g of w less than or equal to 0, that is, it satisfies g of w greater than 0, then this function evaluates to infinity. Now so to get a feel for this, imagine this picture, right? So maybe this is our space of w, right? So this is w, maybe w is a two-dimensional vector, w1 and w2 are two components, and now here is the space. This is the set of all possible w's for which let's say g of w uh, is less than or equal to 0, right? So let's consider this shaded region. Now what we are saying essentially is that, if I give you a w here, right, so w equals w1, w2 here, right, so this is w1, this is w2. If I give you this w, then the function max of alpha greater than or equal to 0 f of w plus alpha g of w evaluates to g of w to f of w, right? So at this point, if I ask the function's value, that value is going to be g of w. At this point, the function's value is at this point the function's value is going to be f of w. Why? Because that's the argument that we made. If g of w is less than or equal to 0, then the function evaluates f of w. So let me also say what the shaded region is. The shaded region is the set of all w such that g of w is less than or equal to 0. Inside this, whenever I give you a point, it will evaluate to the corresponding function f of w. On the other hand, if I give you a w outside this for which g of w is greater than 0, then it will evaluate to infinity. Right? So which means that there is a region where the function evaluates to some finite value, which is f of w, and outside this region it kind of goes to infinity. So that's the kind of function this guy is, right? So if you think of this as a function of w, right? So now how can we use this function of w? Well, we can do the following. Now, if I want to find the minimum value, right? So for every w, I know what this function evaluates to. It either evaluates f of w or infinity. Now, if I want to find that w where this function takes the smallest value, right? So I want to minimize over w, maximize over alpha greater than 0, f of w plus alpha g of w. If this is what I care about, then what does this mean? This means that, well, here it's the black box, right? So which is this function, where if I give a w, it evaluates to f of w if w satisfies g of w equals 0. Now here is another w, maybe w2, which will evaluate to infinity because g of w2 was greater than 0. Here g of w1 was less than or equal to 0. Now I am trying to give different values of w as input and see which one gives me the smallest value. Now there will be some w for which this value will be smallest, and necessarily that w has to be somewhere here, right? So inside this shaded region, that is w star. Why? Because outside this shaded region this function evaluates to infinity, inside this shaded region it evaluates to f of w, and so this w star has the property that among all w's which are in the shaded region, it has the smallest value. But what are the w's which are in the shaded region, which are exactly the w's for which g of w is less than or equal to 0? Which means that if I try to find the minimum over w, maximum over alpha greater than or equal to 0, f of w plus alpha g of w, this is equivalent to finding that w which minimizes f of w in the shaded region where g of w is less than or equal to 0. Now this was the original problem that we wanted to solve. What we are saying is that you can either solve the original problem or you can solve this min-max problem. Both are equivalent, right? So these two are exactly the same. These will give you exactly the same answer. That is what we have seen so far, right? So let me note that down, right? So let's call this b. Now this is a nice equivalence. Basically, you have written a minimization problem, a constrained minimization problem, as a min-max problem. Now the question arises is, when you have a min-max problem, one can ask the question, can we swap min and max in B? This is the first question we'll ask. So basically, in other words, I'm asking if I look for the function. Well, of course, you can always swap, but the question is, if you swap, then does it affect the final answer, right? So can we swap and not affect the final answer is what we are asking. That is, instead of saying min over w, max over alpha greater than or equal to 0 something, can I look at max over alpha greater than or 0, min over w something, the same thing, right? So do these things, are these things the same things, right? So will they evaluate to the same value? Well, in general, they don't necessarily have to evaluate to the same value. In general, the answer is no. You cannot swap the min and max and hope that they'll evaluate to the same value. But if f and g are nice functions, right? So are nice functions. Well, by nice I mean in our context convex functions. Then yes, you can in fact swap these two things, right? So then yes. So this is a very fundamental result in convex optimization called convex duality result. We won't prove this result, but those who are interested should look at a convex optimization course or convex optimization book where this result would be proved. If f and g are convex, then this swapping is allowed, right? So which means that what that essentially tells us that then is that so I can either solve min over w max over alpha greater than 0 f of w plus alpha g of w. Either I can solve this problem or I can solve max over alpha greater than 0 min over w f of w plus alpha g of w. I'll get the same answer no matter I solve which one, right? Which of the, I mean, either of these, right? So, but then this holds only for convex f and g. We have already seen what convex functions are, right? So, for our purposes, the most important convex functions that we will encounter, at least in this particular algorithm that we have been looking at, or this includes quadratic functions. This includes linear functions. These are all convex functions. So you can very well assume that the statement that I made holds for quadratic function and linear function, and that's all we would need for our understanding for this point. Now, again, the original problem that we started looking at just had one constraint, right? So this was the original problem; it just had one constraint, but very similar ideas carry over for multiple constraints also. Let me make a note of that, right? So for multiple constraints, the same kind of ideas hold true, which is, let's say you wanted to solve min over w f of w such that, let's say there are gi of w less than or equal to 0 for all I, right? So there are multiple constraints g1 of w, g2 of w, and so on, some till gk of w, whatever k this might be, right? So you have k different constraints, right? So and you have this problem that you want to solve. Now this is equivalent to solving min over w, now max over, now because there are multiple constraints, you will have to have an alpha corresponding to each of these constraints, right? So you will have alpha 1 dot 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 alpha k if there are k constraints. Let me make that number clear. I equals 1 to k. So you have k different alphas, and again the function itself is the same, right? So f of w, but now because there are k different alphas, this will be alpha 1 g1 of w plus alpha 2 g2 of w plus dot 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 plus alpha k gk of w. This would be our modified function. This will be the min max problem that these guys will be equal to, but then you will not allow all alphas. You have to make sure that each of these alphas is greater than or equal to 0, right? So you're only searching in the space of alphas greater than or equal to 0. You can do exactly the same argument like how we did. Even if one of these constraints is not satisfied, then you can make this quantity go up to infinity, whereas if all the constraints are satisfied, then this quantity will exactly evaluate to f of w. The same argument that we did earlier, but then now it holds for multiple constraints. So now again, if f and all the g's are convex, then this is also equivalent to maximizing over alpha 1 greater than or equal to 0 dot 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 alpha k greater than or equal to 0, minimizing over w f of w plus alpha, the same thing, cg1 of w plus dot 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 plus alpha k gk of w. So this again is convex duality, right? So I just wanted to, because our problem has multiple constraints, we should also see the multiple constraints version of it, right? So now let's map this understanding to our problem and see if it helps us, right? So at this point, it's not clear why they should help us, right? So because we originally wanted to solve a minimization problem with some constraints, we converted it into a min max, and now we are saying that, well, you can either solve the min max or you can solve the max min. That doesn't, at least in first glance, it does not look like it has made our problem any easy to solve, right? So we need to argue why this might be a useful thing to even look at for our case. So let's try to see what benefit do we get if we do this for our problem.